Hey, welcome back to the Experience Share. My name is Blake, and today we're taking another look at the elite and unique tier list videos. This time taking on fire. So to introduce you to our categories, we're looking over at flexibility, the ability to slot them into any deck playing that color, and then their power level, whether they're very powerful or they're narrow cards. And then lastly, we have our last tier here, which are cards that are just kind of bad, cards that I'm not playing right now. So let's kick this off with the Ancient Dragon. Tap, deal 4 damage to each other unit at target location. Does have 3 fire threshold. We're going to put it in the narrow and fine category for now. 3 fire thresholds, no joke. It takes a lot to be able to cast this. Now, this is a turn 7, this is a late drop card, and being able to tap and deal 4 to each other unit at a target location is pretty strong, because you're able to keep it out of harm's way. But I still, maybe in the dragon set, there's something that can make this a little bit stronger. Not the strongest card right now. Alright, next, going with the Phoenix card here. And so it is a 5/4 airborne. If Phoenix would take damage from a fire spell or ability, it gets +1 power this turn. Alright, and for the Phoenix, this is going to go in the flexible and fine category. It's only 2 fire threshold. There's a lot of things that want to deal fire damage out. It's not my top pick for something I want to play in a lot of my decks. However, I do not mind slotting this in, and I've definitely played it a time or two before. Alright, Bull Demons of Adam. This card here, it has the ability, let me zoom in a little bit. Alright, so it has the ability tap, move 3 steps in a cardinal direction. When Bull Demons of Adam enters each location, it strikes them, each untapped unit there. It's the airborne is so good on Phoenix. It's just why it's in that fine category and flexible. I think this is going to be probably a little bit more in the, I'd probably rather play Ancient Dragon. This isn't a horrible card. It's just not necessarily one that I really want to play that often. But if this is your favorite card, your favorite art, you're not going to be too disappointed with this one here. All right, next, Cerberus and Change must be summoned to your location. Cerberus and Change automatically follows you and cannot move itself away. This is going to go into the narrow and powerful deck. This needs to go in a specific style of deck, a Pathfinder deck, sometimes a Battle Mage deck. Something like a 3/5 is obviously incredibly strong and overpowered, but you need to be on your opponent's sites to be able to attack them. In addition, you also can use it for defense, which makes it strong. It's a pretty powerful card coming in at a 3/5. It's unique. You don't see it very often, but it is a relatively powerful card whenever you're able to get it out. Alright, next, Cordus and Thias. So Cordus and Thias is going to go same thing in this narrow and powerful category here. If you haven't played this card before, Genesis, during your next turn, each player's is controlled by the previous one. So you can immediately take over and play your opponent's next turn, which works out really well if they're on death's door, because you're able to kill them through that way. However, they are also able to take your next turn, and so they can deal some harm and some damage to you that way. Really powerful effect. Not every deck is going to want to play this one, but a pretty strong effect whenever you do play it. Alright, next, Death Dealer. Genesis, kill all other minions, leaving around a 4 power. This is going to be our first flexible and powerful tier. It is a 7 drop, so maybe if you're a super aggressive strategy, you wouldn't really want to play this one. But if you could see yourself reasonably getting to 7 mana, you're probably going to want to play Death Dealer if you're playing Fire. Disintegrate. Banish target minion nearby and everything it carries. The nearby, the 2 fire threshold, these are the things that make it just fine for now. You need to be a avatar that kind of wants to move over, so it can't really be flexible. I'm going to put it in this narrow and fine category. Maybe if you're playing like a fire Pathfinder out of the sideboard, I could see potentially being able to play this here. Be able to banish a minion and everything it carries. Pretty strong effect, but especially for 3. But it's not always easy to get that 3 fire I'm sorry, 2 fire threshold, as well as be nearby the minion that you want to remove. Doomsday Prophet. Nearby units take double damage from strikes. It is a 5/1, and I'm gonna. I can't. I'm just gonna have to right now put this in the kind of bad category. I'm not playing this right now, but that doesn't mean there's not a combo kill deck or something like that that could pop out in the future. It's hard for me to see a really good reason to play this. Uh, you know what? And I'm sorry. It says nearby units take double damage except from strikes. So what magic auras, things along those lines. So not even from strikes. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this in the kind of bad category. It's like the opposite of the tragedy warrior. All right, Far East Assassin comes in with stealth. Tap Far East Assassin, throws an artifact he carries to an adjacent unit, or targeting an adjacent unit. It takes damage equal to the artifact's mana value. This is a fine card. I'm trying to think of the reasons to play it. It probably comes down, even probably farther down here. It's fine. It's not great. Being able to deal damage equal to the artifact's mana cost. So if you're carrying around a 3/4 power, you can just tap it to deal 3 or 4 damage. But now that artifact is going to be resting on that location, and so that could make it challenging to be able to use that going forward. So we're going to put it in the narrow and fine category. Flame Wave. So Flame Wave here flows horizontally from one edge of the realm to the other, deal damage to each unit atop the affected sites. So it can move from left to right or from right to left, and then it deals a 7-5-3-1 pattern here. Oh man, alright, where to put Flame Wave? This is a good mid-range strategy, a good finisher card. And, it's not quite narrow, but it's definitely not like on the level of Death Dealer. I'm going to put it in this flexible and fine category. If you're a deck that's struggling to find a way to be able to end the game, this is a great way to be able to end it, because you're going to be able to deal a damage to an avatar. You just got to have to make sure that you're both not on Death's Door whenever you're using it. Alright, and Poltergeist here. Poltergeist has tap until Poltergeist leaves the realm, gain control of a nearby artifact, animate it. It is an automation with power equal to its cost, and it has its own bearer's ability. Okay, Poltergeist here is not a card that I am playing right now. Maybe if there's a big artifact deck in the future, but for now, it's just going to go in this kind of bad category. There's really not a great reason I see to play this card right now. You don't really want to animate your opponent's cores or stones. Getting a 1/1 to tap down a 3 power isn't the best thing in the world. So next, alright, Emulation, we have deals 7 damage to target nearby minion. This is going to go in the narrow and fine category, similar to Disintegrate. Probably, we'll go ahead and put it above Disintegrate because it only costs 1. The issue is that it costs 3 fire threshold, and so it's really hard to find a reason to play this card. It's just there's better cards. You don't really want to see it early. There's no guarantee it's going to be late, and it is still once again nearby, so you need to be kind of on top of them. Yeah, and it's only minions too, so it's not like you can hit an avatar for this. It's just going to be narrow and fine here. All right, Infernal Legion at the end of your turn, deal 3 damage to each other adjacent unit. This is going to be on the Ancient Dragon level here. Put it slightly below because I think that keyword of flying is or airborne is better. It's good. It's fine. It's a 6 drop that can tap and deal for 6, but it's not going to be one that I'm going to be rushing into my deck. I think there's going to be better options I'll be able to play. All right, Infiltrate. Gain control of target enemy minion until it deals damage. Tap it. It gains stealth. Incredibly strong card. Probably better than Death Dealer. This is the best in class fire removal spell. You have to watch out for some of the stealth towers to stop from being able to gain control, but Infiltrate, really strong, really good card. Jihad, really strong, powerful card as well. It's going to be in the narrow category because it does only give it to fire minions, but they get +1. It still costs 2 fire threshold. It's a fine card. All right. And next we have the Chimera. It can simultaneously attack 3 units at the same time. This is just going to go in that same big minion, I'll put it below Infernal Legion. It can attack, that's great, but it's not going to be exactly kind of what I'm wanting to play right now. All right. And next we have Major Explosion. Major Explosion is one that I probably would have put in this more powerful tier. I think now it's probably better than Phoenix. And honestly, playing Wave is probably better than Phoenix as well. Decent card. It's flexible. It's fine in the decks that it can go into. Being able to drop and hit 7 is a lot, but you still have to be 2 steps away, which can cause some trouble. Alright, Maze Minotaur. Enemy minions cannot move themselves out of the maze of 9 locations that is nearby Maze Minotaur. It's a 4/4. It's an elite. This is just going to be a flexible and fine. If you're looking for a 4-drop, that's 4 power, Maze Minotaur, that could be it for you. It's fine. It can stop your opponent from being able to move, but yeah, it's hard for me to see a ton of applications. Pretty narrow, maybe, and when I would actually want to see value in this, but just because it's a 4/4 with an upside, no, it's probably going to go down here. Probably below the Bulls. Maybe, probably even below the Assassin. Alright, Meteor Shower in 4-player formats. Maybe it comes all the way up here. For now, it's just kind of narrow and fine. Probably in this range. 9's a lot. It's a lot. You will be able to deal 7 with it to an avatar. That'll be great, but yeah, we'll see. I think it's a fine card. I think there's probably better options in most cases, but Meteor Shower there. Alright, Pact with the Devil. This is going to go up here to this narrow and powerful tier. Sacrifice the caster or lose half your life, rounding up. If you do, draw 3 cards. Really cool card, really flavorful too. So the closer you are to death, the less that you really have to pay to be able to cast this. You can cast this on Death's Door. You're not dealing damage, you're losing life, and so you basically pay 4 to draw 3. Really good, strong effect, and one that sees a lot of play with a lot of the spellcasters, like Apprentice Wizard, because you can sacrifice the spellcaster or the Apprentice Wizard and draw 3 spells. All right. Next, we have the Manticore. It is a 5/5, 2 fire threshold here, coming to the top of the flexible and fine. And I say that because it's really on rate. It's a 5/5. It has airborne lethal. At the end of your turn, if you cast a non-fire spell this turn, you can untap it. Yeah, it's solid card. There's probably more powerful, which is why that Infiltrate, Death Dealer up top. Good card, can fit into a lot of different fire decks. All right, Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth is either kind of bad, or it's blowing up roots, and where it's narrow and powerful. So we're going to put it in the narrow and powerful tier because it can blow up roots. You can use it defensively and destroy your own site. I don't know why you would do that, but that is a legal play that you can do. I think it's powerful in its effect to be able to reset with roots, but it's not something I'm slotting into most or really any of my fire decks. Season Sellsword is avatars nearby have discard a card, gain control of Season Sellsword. I think this is just a narrow and fine card. It's the same right here. It's if you're playing it, you draft it. That's totally fine. You're happy playing it. But it's one that if it's starting to do too much damage to your opponent, they can just move to it, discard it, take a card, take control. In which case, then you have to defend against this 2/4. I don't think it's really all that beneficial there. All right. Last but not least, Warp Spasm. This turn, double an allied minion's power, and whenever it attacks and kills a unit, it untaps. At the end of the turn, it dies. and it costs 3 for this effect, 3 fire threshold. Um, oh gosh, it's is it really just kind of bad? Is it? It might just be kind of bad because you can double power by critical strike for 2. You get the untap effect, but it has 3 fire threshold. Uh, we're gonna throw in the kind of bad tier. Maybe it's narrow and fine, but for this video, it's going in kind of bad. All right. Well, that wraps it up for our fire threshold tier list. Once again, my name is Blake. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a blessed day. Take care.